Since the dawn of college football, there is one position that has been the backbone of a program and has led to some of the most iconic and dominant players in the history of the sport, and it is a star running back. And in college football, it all starts with the recruiting process, where all the best teams in the country will fight tooth and nail to secure the services of the next great running back recruit. So I wanted to put 15 of the greatest college football running backs we have seen over the last 40 years and put them all into one recruiting class. And we will watch a recruiting process and see where each one of the blue chip prospects ends up. Then I will sim through their 4-year college career and we'll see how they progress over those 4 years. We're also going to watch some games live to see these superstars match up, to see who will live up to their lofty recruiting rankings and who will fall short of expectations. Now, I made each of them an 88 overall while still trying to make sure their ratings match up to their real life counterparts, so their play style will be as similar as possible. And all of this is going to happen in the NCAA Revamped Mod. All right, so let's get right into it. So I made 15 running backs that I already made, put them into a recruiting class. I'm going to be controlling Air Force, but I will not be touching them. I will not be recruiting anyone. We're just going to let these 15 guys, 15 of the best running backs ever, decide exactly where they want to go. We will not be controlling anything. We're just going to see who had a great career, who lives up to the hype, who doesn't. So I already created these guys, created the prospects. I made them all 88 overall. So they're all going to be 88s. We're going to skip to recruiting here. We are going to see, where they all are kind of leaning to. So we're going to go right into all prospects. There we go. And we're just going to sort by running back. Now, so the number 1 overall running back recruit is Derrick Henry. Now, I did put them in the state where they are all from. So McCaffrey's from Colorado, so I put him from there. Derrick Henry's from Florida, so I put him in Florida. So they will kind of tend to lean a little more regional for some of them for where they want to go. But right now it looks like McCaffrey, number 1 overall running back. His top 3 are OU, Nebraska, and USC. Then, and like I said, they're all 88 overall. So they're all going to be very similar, but obviously I skewed them towards their real life ability. So Henry, 6'3", 240, really good power, some good speed. McCaffrey, super shifty, great hands, great receiver. So it's all going to gear that way as well. So Derrick Henry comes in 2, Ricky Williams 3, and his number 1 is Texas. Oh, and I guess Henry's Georgia and Bama, so he could flip to Georgia. It'd be cool to see Ricky go to Texas, but he's also Baylor and A&M, staying within Texas. Marcus Allen from Cali, and his top 3 are Georgia, Bama, and Michigan. Barry Sanders, 5'9", 204. His top 3, Bama, LSU, Florida. Now, obviously, there's a decent chance some of these guys are going to end up at the same school, but we're just going to let them duke it out and see what happens. So Earl Campbell, LSU, Oklahoma, Texas. Gurley, Bama, Notre Dame, Florida. Reggie Bush, Bama, Georgia, Clemson. Okay, I just realized for some reason I called Marshall Falk Darren Falk. That was supposed to be Marshall. That is Marshall Falk, not Darren Falk. He's going to SC, Nebraska, or Bama. Bama seems to be in on basically all of these guys. Saquon, Bama, Oregon, Georgia. Herschel Walker, Texas, Florida State, Florida. Ezekiel Elliott, Georgia Tech, Army, or Louisiana Tech. That is random. Adrian Peterson, Alabama, LSU, Georgia. And then, there should be one more, I think. Okay, and Leonard Fournette, for some reason, is a 4-star, and his number 1 is LSU, Texas, Texas A&M. So obviously, we're going to sim through. We're going to see where all these guys end up. If like 5 of them fucking all end up at Alabama after might have to restart. But there probably will be, 1 or 2 that end up at the same school. I've done this very similar sim with QBs. And a few of them ended up at the same school, but we got to see them just duke it out and see who ends up on top. Then we can just quickly, 40 time, we can sort by Bo Jackson ran a 4.28. Few guys in the 4.3s. That's super interesting. If we look at bench press, Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson, 465 bench press coming out of high school is pretty insane. Herschel Walker right around there as well. If we look at squat, kind of crazy. Their squat, a lot of them, their bench press is higher than their squat, doesn't seem, but Ricky Williams got the power in the legs. So yeah, this is kind of where they're all leaning. 14 5-stars, and then Leonard as a 4-star. But like I said, they're all 88s overall. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sim, and we are going to sim through one season. Now, obviously, none of our guys are in college. They're all still technically in high school right now. So we're going to sim through a complete season. Like I said, I'm controlling Air Force. I'm not going to recruit them. They are just going to go whatever NCAA teams recruit the best. They're going to end up there. We're going to sim a few games into the season. We're going to look at the recruiting battle, see where everyone's sitting. And then by the end of the year, we'll see where everyone's signed. So we're going to sim to week 6. All right. So we're in week 6. Let's look at the recruiting battle, see where all these guys are leaning. So right now, Christian McCaffrey is leaning USC. Now, if we go more info, we can see kind of the lead. So SC has a big lead, LSU in second, and then no one else really is in the running. I would say if we look at Derrick Henry, Georgia, a pretty commanding lead with Texas A&M kind of on the outside looking in, and basically Alabama's out. No one else is really in. Ricky Williams looks like Texas or Texas A&M. Very interesting. So at least all those three so far leaning different schools. Okay, Marcus Allen. So he's got 5, 6, like he's got 7 schools he could still go to. Georgia in the front lead, but this is basically too close to call. He could really end up anywhere still. Okay, Barry Sanders basically locked up at Florida. I kind of like that though. Florida's had a lot of those kind of smaller, shifty running backs. Bama way outside looking in, so he's almost guaranteed Florida. Now, Bo Jackson has already committed to Alabama. Wow. So Bo, he's from the state of Alabama. In real life, he went to Auburn. Now he's going to end up with the Crimson Tide. Wow, crazy. Then we have Earl Campbell at Texas, and they have a pretty commanding lead on him. So we could get Ricky Williams and Earl Campbell at Texas together in the same backfield. Oh goodness. Now, Todd Gurley, I hope he ends up at Auburn because I don't think anyone else is going to go there, and we already have Barry Sanders at Florida. But I mean, if you have Todd Gurley and Barry Sanders as your 1-2 punch, that would be pretty sick. Okay, Reggie is down to SC and Clemson. Now, we already have McCaffrey leaning SC, so you could have Reggie Bush. You might have to move to one of them to wide receiver. Yeah, you could have Reggie Bush and McCaffrey end up there, which would be crazy. Then if we look at Darren Falk, who's actually Marshall Falk, he is already locked up at SC. So SC could have Marshall Falk, Reggie Bush, and Christian McCaffrey. I hope at least one of them goes somewhere else. Okay, Saquon is leaning. Okay, Saquon's almost guaranteed locked up at Oregon, which I really like because it's kind of cool to see, but it's also, I don't think anyone else is going to go there. He's not going to end up at Alabama. Herschel Walker is almost locked in at LSU, which is interesting. Ezekiel Elliott, another guy. So he's going to end up going to Army or Georgia Tech. Either way, we are good. AP. Oh man, AP is going to Florida. So he's basically locked up at Florida. Barry looks like he's locked up at Florida, and then Gurley is maybe going to Florida. So hopefully some of those guys, spread their wings a little bit. Oh my goodness. And Leonard Fournette is going to go to Texas. So if Leonard Fournette goes to Texas, they're going to have 3 240-pound tailbacks at Texas. So still early. It's too close to call for a lot of those guys. We're just going to keep rocking. Let's see where these guys end up. All right, here we are in week 11, and this is really going to tell us where a lot of these guys are going to end up. So let's see. Okay, so McCaffrey now, LSU or USC 1-2. Henry locked in at Georgia. Ricky Williams ends up at A&M. He spurns Texas, which I like because that's going to get, oh my goodness, and Marcus Allen is going to go to BYU maybe. Wow. Okay, but hey, spread the love. Barry locked in at Florida, which we already knew. Bo Jackson locked in at Bama. Earl Campbell locked in at Texas, but Ricky Williams looks like he's going to end up at A&M. So those two end up getting split up. I'm actually not just in running backs here. So now if we go back, just running backs, Earl Campbell, Texas. Todd Gurley looks like he's going to end up at Florida. So I'm really hoping AP doesn't end up there. So Reggie Bush, SC or Clemson, 100%. Yeah, okay, so all of a sudden, I mean, USC might not end up with all these guys. They do look like they're going to get Darren, aka Marshall Falk. So even if they ended up with Reggie and Marshall, I'm kind of hoping Reggie actually ends up at Clemson then. Marshall can take over at USC. Saquon locked in at Oregon. We like that. Herschel, LSU. Did we have anyone else at LSU? I don't think so, right? Okay, so they might get Christian McCaffrey and Herschel Walker at LSU, which would be nasty. Zeke is going to end up at Army. Crazy. Okay. Adrian Peterson going to end up at Florida. Or LSU. So we're going to have some overlap there. But you know what, guys? It wasn't as bad as it could have been. Leonard Fournette is going to end up at Texas. So, and running back's not as bad because you can play multiple running backs if you have some good ones. So I don't think this is going to be too bad for, you know, too many guys going to one school. But I mean, hey, you can play 2 running backs over the course of the year. We will see what happens. We're just going to sim to the end of the season here and we'll see what's up. Let's take one more look at this recruiting. Then we'll just go to the off season. There might be 1 or 2 guys who still has to sign, but we should have basically everyone pretty close. So McCaffrey is going to end up at SC. We already knew Henry. We already knew Rookie. Marcus Allen looking like Georgia now. And we already have Henry at Georgia, which isn't great. Bo Jackson at Bama. Earl Campbell, Texas. Gurley at Florida. Yeah, going to end up at Florida. Reggie looking Clemson, which would be nice because we already going to have McCaffrey and Marshall Faulk at SC. Oregon, we're good. LSU, Herschel, Army, Florida. We're going to have 3 big boys at Florida, which that one is the one that kind of hurts. So Florida is going to get 3. I don't know. Well, that's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. It's still going to turn out really interesting. We'll have to see. They're just going to have to battle it out for carries and touches. And we are going to just have some crazy battles. We're going to have multiple big guys at a few schools and we're going to see who comes out on top. Now, usually I turn off injuries when I do things like this, but I thought, man, should I put on injuries here? Then those guys who have those starter roles, if you get injured, you open the door for someone else. Then you got to try to claw back up. All right, so we finished that season. We are just going to advance to National Signing Day right now, and we're going to see where all these dudes end up. And I was thinking while I was simming, I think I'm going to leave injuries off. We're just going to let these guys duke it out. They'll improve over seasons, and we'll see, you know, who comes out on top. Okay, so National Signing Day. Let's see where all our dudes ended up and how much overlap we do have. So McCaffrey locked in at USC, Henry at Georgia, Ricky Williams at A&M, Marcus Allen ends up at A&M. Oh, so we got 2 at A&M, Barry at Florida, Bojack at Bama, Earl at Texas, Gurley at Florida, Reggie at Clemson. That is big because Marshall Faulk ends up at at USC, Oregon for Saquon, Herschel LSU, Army for Zeke, Adrian Peterson LSU, and then Leonard Fournette Texas. So I think we have 1 spot with 3. We have a few with 2, but you know what? We're going to get some interesting battles. That might even turn out more interesting. We'll see who is able to win out against each other. It should get wild. So now we're going to sim to the next season, and now we're going to see where they all end up, see where they are in the depth chart, and, you know, we're going to sim through the first season. We're going to look at the stats, see where they all sit, and we're going to sim all 4 years of their career. We're going to see who finishes with the best stats, who can win a Heisman, anything like that. And we are going to look and see at the end when they declare for the draft, you can see what like round they get drafted in. So we're also going to look at that. All right, now we're going to look through the roster and see what their path to playing time is looking like. So first we're going to look at Bo Jackson at Bama, and he went to a bit of a loaded backfield. They have Jahmyr Gibbs. He's a senior though. They have another senior in McLennan. Then they have Roydell Williams, who's also a senior. So they basically have 2 freshman running backs, Bo Jackson and Jamarian Miller. So Bo probably won't play much this year, but by next year should have a really good chance. Then if we look at Army, they ended up with Ezekiel Elliott, but as Elliott will not be the starter this year, it's actually going to be Tyrell Robinson, but by next year, Zeke should have a clear path to being the 3-year starter, no problem. Then we're going to go down to Clemson, where Reggie Bush went. Now they have Will Shipley, who's a junior. This makes it a little tough for Reggie. He might not even really play next year. So, you know, Will Shipley's a very good player. He could leave early for the draft, or he could play next year and Reggie will be stuck riding the pine. Still could get the ball a bit, but won't be getting a ton. Then we're going to go to Georgia. Now this is going to be similar. Decently loaded backfield with Edwards and Milton, but Then we have Derrick Henry as a freshman, should easily be the starter by next season. Then we're going to go down to LSU. So we have LSU with Adrian Peterson and Herschel Walker together, and they are behind Noah Cain, who is a senior. So this year won't play a ton, but by next year they will. Then we're going to go down to Florida. Oh, I missed Florida. Here they are. So they have Todd Gurley and Barry Sanders and Trevor Etienne, who's actually Travis Etienne's little brother, who's a sophomore. Then they have Montrell Johnson, who's a junior. Now, Gurley's actually an 89. I don't know if he improved a little bit or if I accidentally made him an 89, but he actually could maybe play over Montrell this year. But they're basically going to have three young running backs competing for playing time as early as next year, so that is going to be a battle. Next, we have Oregon with Saquon Barkley, and they have a junior in Bucky Irvin, who's a 94 overall, and we have a Saquon at an 88. So once again, this could be 2 years for Saquon not getting a ton of playing time, which is a little tough. Then we're going to go to Texas, and Bijan Robinson is gone. So now they have Keelan Robinson, who's a senior, but both Fournette and Campbell are a higher overall. So we are going to see a battle. They're number 26, number 27, big power running backs, both 88 overall, and we're just going to see, they're going to duke it out, and we're going to see who's going to come out on top. So that is going to be the battle to watch probably this year. Then at Texas A&M as well. So the two Texas schools are going to be super interesting. They have Ricky Williams and Marcus Allen, both 88s, no other competition in the backfield. They will be getting the rock a ton between the two of them, and we'll just see who comes out on top. Then the last group is going to be USC. They have Raleek Brown. Oh my God, look at this backfield. They have young Raleek Brown, who's a sophomore, small, speedy player. Then they have Darren, aka Marshall Falk. They have Christian McCaffrey, and they have Darwin Barlow, who is a senior though. So Raleek just squeaking out in overall right now, so he'll probably be the starter, but you still have Marshall and McCaffrey there as well. And you know what? After looking at these depth charts, I think I am going to turn on injuries. You know what? I just think that might help a little bit with, you know what, some of these guys are going to be behind players for like 2 years. So if we get an injury here and there to one of our big guys, that'll suck, but it also might open up some playing time for our guys who are stuck in situations or have multiple running backs all around similar overall. So gonna turn on injuries, so we'll just see. So now we're gonna sim to about this is the first year, so we're gonna sim pretty far in. I'm gonna sim to week 8, and then we're gonna go look at the stats and see who's getting some playing time, see who's putting up some numbers. All right, now we're gonna look at the season stats. We're gonna see where each one of these guys ends up, see who's getting some carries, who isn't, if anyone injured. So Alabama first, Jahmyr Gibbs, yeah, Ricky, yeah, we ain't getting no work here. Bojack ain't getting no work here, so little disappointing, but kind of could see that coming. Zeke actually gets 52 carries so far, 206 yards, 2 touchdowns. Can also look at receiving yards for them. He's got 1 catch for 27 yards. Going down to Clemson, they got Will Shipley. Like, Reggie's still getting work though. 4.7 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. We will take that for Reggie. Both these guys can catch the ball as well. Reggie has 7 catches for 118 yards and a touchdown. So even though he's not the starter, I mean, Reggie is already making some noise for Clemson. Then we're going to go down to Florida, and we have Gurley, who's actually the starting running back, 680 yards so far, 8 touchdowns on the year, and Barry Sanders has 1 carry for 4 yards. So Gurley is off to a great start, kind of has a stranglehold there. He also has 18 catches for 250 yards and a touchdown. So he has been the best runner so far out of any of these guys, looking really, really tough. If we go to Georgia, wasn't expecting much from Derek this year. He's 3rd on the depth chart, 87 yards on the ground. If we look at receiving, he has nothing there. So by next year, we should see some big numbers for him there. Going down to LSU, and Kane is the starter. Then AP is the backup, but AP actually got injured. So that's where the injuries are going to come into play. But I do like this because it's just going to, you know, open up some doors for some guys. So now Herschel is getting some carries, averaging 6 6 point yards per carry. AP was at 5.7 with 2 touchdowns. If we look at receiving, neither of them have done much, both like 1 catch. So really those two are playing pretty heavy on the ground. Gonna go down to Oregon, where we have our boy Saquon Barkley. He is not the starter, but you know, okay, so him and Irving are basically splitting carries. This is great for, I was worried Barkley wasn't going to see the field much. Irving's like a 94 overall, but he is seeing the field, getting tons of touches. Actually looks like he's out touching him on the ground. Has only 1 catch, which we know Saquon is a good receiver, but hey, he's getting playing time. And we're gonna go down to Texas and Texas A&M, and this is where the real battles are gonna take place. So Leonard Fournette is starting out ahead of Earl Campbell, both over 6 yards a carry as freshmen is insane. They're really the only 2 running backs getting work. So this is just cool. This is cool to see, like, both very good, both talented guys. Obviously, if we look through the air, neither guy is getting much work at all. Earl has 1 catch and Leonard has 5. So really, they are just toting the rock under center. If we go to A&M, look at these two. So they're basically splitting time. A Ricky Williams, Marcus Allen backfield where they split time basically down the middle. Hey, that is dope. That is cool. I will take that. These two, like, could you imagine a better backfield than that? Just the ultimate thunder and lightning. 6 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 6.7 yards per carry for Marcus Allen. And you know what? Allen is a great receiver. He has another 165 yards receiving, which is really good. It doesn't look like Ricky is doing much, but that is fine. Marcus Allen has been a beast so far. Then lastly, we're going to go down to SC, where these guys were in the 2-3 role. So Marshall Faulk. So Raleek and Marshall Faulk are splitting carries basically right down the middle. Raleek is actually out gaining him per carry, but both over 600 yards, 7 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns. Then you have McCaffrey with 149 yards, still 5.3 yards. So they have these 3 kind of smaller receiving backs who are just making a ton of noise. Then if we look on the receiving end, Raleek has 13 catches and 215 yards. Falk has another 147, and McCaffrey doesn't look like he has a reception. So that is where everyone's sitting, and honestly, more production. I was a little worried we weren't going to see much yardage from these guys, but basically a ton of production so far. It is year 1, so we're just going to sim through the conference championship, see at the end of the year where all these guys are sitting, see who's kind of, you know, the best off, see where everyone's at, see who kind of had the best freshman year. We should be able to actually look at the freshman All-American team as well, and we'll see who ended up as the freshman All-American running back. Hopefully it's one of our guys. All right, so we're through the regular season. I wonder if we could look at, we could look at the Heisman Watch. I don't think any of our guys are going to be in it, but we can look. Jahmyr Gibbs, none of our guys. Caleb Williams. Could actually look at the award finalists as well. See if any of our boys. So Gurley actually finished 3rd for the Walter Camp, which is pretty insane. So Gurley must have just had a badass year. For the Doak Walker, Gurley 3rd. Wow, Raleek Brown, not one of our guys, but playing ahead of one of our guys. So Gurley was great. I'm actually just going to sim to the end of the bowl season. Then we're just going to look at the final stats for the year, see where everyone ended up. But yeah, that's crazy. So Gurley must have just been unreal. All right, so here we can look at the All-Americans. We'll see who made the freshman All-American team. Yeah, none of our guys made the main All-American team, obviously. Look at freshmen, and it was Darren, aka Marshall Faulk, and Todd Gurley were the 2 freshman All-Americans. Okay, let's go look at the season stats. And one thing I'd like to do in these sims through as well, guys, is once we get into some of the later years, if we get a really good matchup where it's USC versus Florida or Alabama versus Florida, where we could see Bo Jackson versus Todd Gurley, we'll actually hop in the game and we'll watch maybe the last, few drives to see if we can see either of them making some cool plays. So we also will be doing that. Okay, but we're going to quickly go through these stats. Bama, and obviously Bo was nowhere to really be found. He was pretty far down the depth chart, but by next year, Bo should be tearing it up for Bama. Okay, next we're going to look at Army. Ezekiel Elliott, 1,145 yards. He's in one of the most run-heavy systems in the whole country. As a freshman, averaged 6.5 yards per carry. Obviously not playing the craziest competition, but he could end up with the best stats at the end of this, especially just looking at his rushing yards. So who knows where he will finish, but that could be good. Okay, now going to Clemson. And okay, so earlier in the year, it looked like there was a bit more split time between these two, but Will Shipley really took the total control of the backfield here. Reggie still had 500 yards and another 280 on the receiving, but 800 yards as a freshman behind a really good starting running back is not bad at all. Okay, now we're gonna go down to Florida and Todd Gurley, freshman All-American, 1,351 yards and 16 touchdowns. Absolute freak. And then you look at Barry, and he was buried on the depth chart, only 36 yards, didn't get a ton. Gurley added another 500 almost through the air. So Gurley had about 1,700 yards and 16 plus 5, 21 touchdowns as a true freshman. So Gurley looks like he could be an absolute freak here. Henry didn't get a lot of work at Georgia, but by next year he should be, right near the top of their depth chart. Then we're going to look at LSU. AP ended up with 610 yards, but once again, Herschel only had 36 or 270. But by next year, these two should both be, 1-2 in the backfield, both getting work. Then we're going to go down to Oregon, and we're going to see our boy Barkley, and Irving kind of stuck out now. He kind of Barkley got injured. So that is kind of one of the downsides with these injuries. 651 yards, 7 touchdowns. But like I said, wanted to give these guys a chance who are lower on the depth chart to maybe jump out in front. But still, overall, a good freshman campaign for Barkley. Gurley's on a whole nother level between everyone right now. But okay, now we're going to go down to Texas. This is where we have guys playing a bit more. So Leonard Fournette really jumped out ahead of Earl. 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. Earl, really good year though. 682, 5.8 yards per carry. If we look at receiving, neither of them really receiving options, so they are just going to be heavy toters of the rock. Look at A&M. Marcus Allen creeped out a little bit ahead in carries over Ricky, but still 1,209 yards, 842, 9 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, 6.2 yards per reception. We look at Marcus was the second leading receiver on the team as well, with almost 400 yards receiving, so he had a great year. Ricky not really used as a receiver out of the backfield, but hey, like this 1-2 punch is just going to be absolutely sick. Then we're going to end it off at SC, and we have Marshall / Darren Falk actually jumped out ahead of Raleek and had a great year. 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns. Hopefully by next year, McCaffrey could overtake Raleek and just, it could be those two in the backfield. They should still have Caleb Williams back next year, so SC could do some work. If we look at receiving, Marshall Falk had 325. Okay, one other thing I didn't really look at, because this season we were really just worried about getting these guys, but let's see. Okay, so USC won it all, undefeated national champions, 14-0, crazy. Bama right there. So Marshall Falk debatedly had the best year. I'd say Gurley had the best year stats wise, but Marshall Falk was the starting running back here, had like 1,500 total yards on an undefeated national champion. That is crazy. Really cool first year. Now we are just going to sim ahead, and we are going to see how much better these players got. And this is where it's going to get really interesting. We're going to get to see how much better, who can jump out ahead, who's going to pull out in front between all of these guys. And that is really where next year we're going to see who's, way more guys should be starting. We'll keep a better track on, the records for these teams. We'll see if maybe we can hop in a game or two as well. All right, here we are at the start of year 2. So now this is where it really gets interesting. First, we're going to look at each player's overall, where they're going to sit on the depth chart, and just see how much each one of these guys improves. So we're going to look at Alabama and Bo Jackson first, and he went up to a 93 overall ahead of Jamarian Miller, so he will be the starter. This guy's an absolute freak. 93 overall, 6'1", 237 pounds with 98 speed, 99 excel. Good stats. I had to make them all 88, so I didn't give him the best elusiveness, trucking, and stuff, but I mean, he's huge and insanely fast. He will be a beast at Bama. Then we go into Army with Zeke, and he went up to a 93 as well. A little slower, but good all-around player. One of the run-heaviest offenses in the NFL at Army, and they're in one of the weaker conferences. They're independent, but they don't play a super tough schedule, so he should be able to just rack it up. Okay, Clemson. So this will be interesting. They had Shipley. Shipley could have left early though, but he's not. He's a 99 overall. Reggie went up to a 93, really good. And then they have Phil Maffa, who is a 91, but he's a senior, so you won't have to worry. Reggie Bush will take over next year at Clemson. But, I mean, he should still get a decent amount of work with Will Shipley there. Okay, moving on to Florida. Oh, man. Look at these 4 running backs. 4 running backs in between 92 and 94. They still have this Montreal guy. Gurley had a great year last year, but they're both 94. So it'll be interesting who gets, the #1 spot on the depth chart. And then you have Barry Sanders as your 3rd running back, 93 overall as well. So I think Gurley's the highest overall, right? So far, 94. Next, we have Georgia. And Derrick Henry, he's going to be running the show for the Bulldogs. 6'3", 244 pounds. Absolute beast, no real competition. This guy's 4 points below Henry. We should look out for Henry. He might be ready to absolutely explode in that offense. Then we go to LSU. They got 2, Herschel Walker and Adrian Peterson, both 93 overall. Both sophomore, obviously, both in a great position to absolutely put in work with this LSU team. Then we're going down to Oregon. So Oregon also had a high, I think Irvin was a 94 last year, and I think he was only a junior. Yeah, so he's going to be back. He's a 99 overall. We got Saquon a 93. So he should still get some work, but this is going to be Irving's backfield for 1 more year. Then we go down to the guys who were already starters last year at Texas and Texas A&M. So Texas, we have Earl. Okay, so they are actually the 2 that looked like they improved the least. Overall is very a basic stat. It's kind of a catch-all, but both at 92, two just huge bowling ball running backs in that Texas backfield. Who else do? Okay, so they have Xavier Worthy as well. So ton of firepower on that offense. Should be in a really good spot. Then we look at Texas A&M. Okay, so Ricky Williams actually pulled a little bit ahead of Marcus Allen. So Marcus Allen actually played quite a bit more than Ricky last year, but now Ricky kind of has that #1 spot. But I'd imagine they're both going to get a ton of run. Then we have our last school with USC, and they also had 2 running backs, and they had Raleek Brown, who's only a junior. So this is a super crowded backfield. Raleek is a 95. Then we have a 94 and a 93 with Falk and McCaffrey. Falk was absolutely dynamite for them last year. They went undefeated and won the national championship. We see they have some freaks. They have Caleb Williams back for his senior year. They might be national title favorites once again. So if we have a good matchup with them in Oregon, maybe that might be an interesting one to look at. Yeah, this year I definitely want to hop into at least 1 game if we get a good matchup between a few of our guys. Probably I'm going to see when USC and Oregon play, and then the other area would probably be either Texas A&M, or like one of the SEC games. So I actually might go look through the schedules real quick, and then I'll give you guys an update on what I think. I just quickly wanted to actually hop in and see the Heisman watch. So Todd Gurley starts out 3rd in the Heisman. I want to see preseason All-Americans as well for running backs. Let's see who they have. So neither of our guys there for 1st team, and then Gurley for 2nd team. So Gurley's projected to be the best so far at Florida. Okay, I'm going to look at the schedules and see if we can find a good matchup where we can see some of these guys play. Okay, so week 9, we have USC Oregon. But Saquon's not really the starter there. I forgot about that. Okay, I'm going to look at the SEC and see if we have good matchups there. Ooh, this could be interesting. Week 3, we could see Bo Jackson at Bama versus who is at A&M. We have Marcus Allen and Ricky Williams. You know what? Let's sim to this game. We're going to watch this. Well, how I basically do it, if this is your first time watching one of these, I'll basically hop in the game. I'll super sim through the first 3 quarters. If it's close near the end, we'll hop in and watch. I've done it with QBs in the past. QBs are a little more in on every play. We don't really know how often the running backs will get the ball, obviously, but we'll hop in and check it out. Okay, here we go. A&M and Alabama. A good rivalry, 2 really good teams. Bama's a 99 across the board. If we got a USC Alabama national final, we would definitely be hopping into that. So that's where they sit. Oh, wow. A&M's offense is struggling to start the year. Bam is averaging 250 rush yards per game. There's Bama's top 3. Ricky Williams is in A&M's top 3. Okay, here we go. Bama, the number 2 team in the nation. We got Ricky Williams, and is it Marcus Allen trying to knock him off? I want to see some Bo Jackson toting the rock. That is my goal. But we're going to sim through the first quarter, and we'll just see kind of where they sit. So first quarter, Bama 7-0 lead. Let's go to the second. Let's go to halftime. Wow. 14-7 lead Texas A&M. We're going to go to the fourth quarter and we will see. Okay, so Bama had a better third quarter there. They were able to score twice. Who is the ball here? Go next change of possession. Okay, Ricky Williams, 4-yard rush. Okay, they're driving. Ricky Williams is on the field. Let's check it out. So what number is Ricky? 41, I think. Yep, he's in it. Tailback, under center. Let's see what he's got. Nope, they're passing. Little hitch route. Fires it in for the catch. Let's see it again. I want to see run the ball with Ricky Williams or Marcus Allen. So Ricky in I form once again. This is going to suit Ricky Williams well, obviously. Absolute beast in the backfield. A little draw, but Bama's defense sticks him in the backfield. Wow, that was a big stop. It is 4th and 3. And they are going for it. It looks like Marcus Allen is actually in the backfield now as well, not Ricky Williams. Let's see if they go maybe a pass to Marcus. No, stretch to Marcus. He gets downhill. Stiff arm. That is going to be close. I think he just got it though. What do we got? What do we got? Yeah. Okay. So Texas A&M just able to get a first down there with Marcus Allen, but now Ricky Williams is back in the game, ready to tote the rock. They are really winding this clock down. Okay, drops back, tucks it and runs, bounces off a little bit of a tackle there, gains about 3-4 yards. We can see some overtime here. I want to see, even if they get a stop, we're going to watch Bo Jackson and Bama a little bit here. Try to run out the clock. Here we go again. Split backfield with Marcus Allen and Ricky Williams. This is what we wanted to see. Here we go. Marcus Allen in the flats. Drop it down to him. There it is. Marcus Allen all the way down to the 5-yard line. Little bounce off the sideline there. Almost a little slant back inside. There we go. Marcus Allen is a great receiver out of the backfield, and he shows you right there. A little split back. Ricky Williams, Marcus Allen. This is why I wanted to hop in this game. Trying to knock off the number 2 team in the nation. This seems like Ricky time to me. Ricky looks a little tired though. So, you know, you want to be able to hand it off, but they got a slant over the middle that could have definitely been picked off. That looked like it could have been trouble. And here it is again. Ricky, single back, but Ricky's keeled over. He looks dead tired. They're just dropping back, and it is caught. Touchdown. There it is. A&M ties it. Wow, they got an extra point, but they look like they just tied it up against the number 2 team in the nation on the road. Yeah, 21 all. Now we get to see this Alabama offense. Now Bo Jackson is obviously at tailback there. You don't expect them to be handing the ball off a ton, but maybe we'll get to see him, throw the ball to him, drop it off to him in the flats, anything like that. But first started out passing. There we go. That's a nice little completion. Alabama does have all 3 timeouts. Sometimes this is an old NCAA, guys. This is NCAA 14. Sometimes how they take timeouts can be just absolutely ridiculous. They'll just let the clock go down with timeouts. And if I'm in this super sim thing, I can't even call them for them. And yeah, so you never know. But here we go. Drop back, time to throw, pushes it downfield, and it's picked off. Oh my goodness, that was an awful throw, and A&M is going the other way. Wow, that was tough. I don't even know what to say there. All of a sudden, A&M can win it with a field goal. They're in shotgun. They have Ricky Williams in the backfield. Are they going to pass? Are they going to run? They're dropping back to pass. He has plenty of time. He tucks it and runs. The safety's running backwards, and he fumbled it. Oh my goodness. This could be a scoop and score. Oh my gosh. Was he down though? He might have had a knee down. That looked like absolutely an incredible play. Tucks it and runs. He fumbles it. Scoop and score, Alabama. This could be knee down though to me. Are they even going to look at it? They're not. A&M chokes it away. Oh my goodness. 44. They still have 3 timeouts, but now they got to go full length of the field, score a touchdown on this Bama defense. Their best 2 offensive players are running backs. Okay. I super simmed 1 play and Alabama just picked them off. So that is going to be it. But that was a crazy finish. Oh, we could have actually seen a few Bo Jackson carries there. Crap. I should have watched that. But there it is. We got to see a little bit of Ricky. We got to see a little bit of Marcus Allen. And we got to see a scoop and score fumble for Alabama to win this one. Wow. Okay, so number 2 Alabama holds on for the victory at home. But there we go. So at least I'm going to try to hop into 1 regular season game each year. Plus, if we get a good bowl game where we have our guys matched up, or hopefully a national championship, then definitely we will be watching that. Now, I did this with quarterbacks. You guys, I'll link it down in the description. Basically the exact same thing. 15 of the best QBs ever into a recruiting class. Michael Vick went to North Carolina, was stuck behind Drake May for 3 years. Then his last year, first year as a starter, became the starter. Played, I can't remember who, I think they played Tebow in Florida, or Tebow, and I think Tebow played for LSU actually. Met in the national championship, so it was 2 of our QBs in the sim. Met in the Natty, and I'm not going to spoil who won. You might want to check it out, but yeah, it was crazy. So these are pretty interesting to do. I'm definitely going to try to hop in. But okay, we're going to sim to like week 10. Then we'll look at the stats. We'll see where everyone's sitting. Then we'll sim to kind of the bowl season and see if we have a cool bowl game we could hop into, or a national championship. All right, so here we are about week 10. Let's hop in. We'll see kind of where all these guys are sitting, who's performing, who's not. Let's take a look. So first we got Bama and Bo. 150 carries, 700 yards, 5 yards per carry, only 4 touchdowns. So I'd say that's a good start for Bo. I don't imagine he's getting a ton of work in the pass game. Yeah, only 8 catches, 147 yards, averaging 18.3 yards per catch, but decent start for Bo for sure. Then if we look at Army, we got Zeke, and we knew this guy was getting a ton of carries. 1,100 yards, 6.1 yards per carry, 16 touchdowns. Obviously not playing the best competition. He has 10 catches for 137 yards too. So Zeke is putting in work. Then we're going to go down to Clemson with Reggie, and oh my God, he's actually out carrying Will Shipley, who's a 99 overall, averaging 5.7 yards per carry. Shipley's a beast though too. Only 3 touchdowns. And then they both have 11 and 14 catches. So being used in the pass game a little bit, not a ton, but there we go. Reggie getting more carries, touches than I would have thought. Then we have Florida. Okay, so Todd Gurley was able to hold on to his starter role, but this Montrell Johnson is definitely, poaching some of his carries. Gurley's averaging 6.2 yards per attempt, which is crazy. Then we have Barry, only 13 attempts on the season. If we look in the pass game, Gurley, very good start. 18 receptions, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns. So yeah, I feel bad for Barry. This Montrell guy has really put kind of a spanner in the works for these two, but by next year they should be splitting time, and Florida should definitely have a dynamic backfield duo. We look here, so Brian Robinson is actually getting more carries than Derrick Henry. Wow. Okay, our Branson. Henry's averaging 5.3. He's averaging 6. Henry's also had 10 touchdowns, which is a ton. If we look, I don't imagine Derrick Henry. He's got 11 catches for 128 yards. So a bit of receiving production, but obviously a ton just from Toten. Then we go down to LSU, and we have the Adrian Peterson, Herschel Walker backfield. Splitting time. Adrian's obviously getting a bit more amount of work right here, but both 5.5 yards per carry, 2 to 4 touchdowns, not a ton of work there. AP's getting so they're both about the same. So they're okay. AP's got 4 receiving touchdowns, but honestly they're very similar here. No one's really standing well above the other, but both performing well. Okay, then we go down to Oregon, where we have Saquon, not the starting role, but I'd imagine he's still getting a good amount of work, which he is. So 6 yards per carry for him. Irvin is still there, but Irving will be gone after this season. 8 touchdowns and 4. Really good running back group right there. Irving is getting a ton of work in the pass game, where Saquon is not. So next year, I think Saquon could be huge as a junior when he's in the backfield, getting all the receiving yards as well. But right now he is the backup. Okay, then we got Texas A&M, where we got all four guys kind of in the four main roles. So here, Fournette is out touching Earl Campbell, but Earl Campbell seems to be better with the football. 6.5 to 5.3, 6 touchdowns, 83 long compared to a 13 long. So yeah, I don't know. Earl seems better, but then if we look at receiving, neither is getting much work in the pass game. Leonard's been a little bit better once he does get the ball, but only 9 and 7 receptions apiece. Go to A&M. We have Ricky and Marcus, and Ricky is really out touching Marcus Allen. 122 to only 50, 500 more yards. You know, Ricky's just playing better than Marcus, tripling him up in touchdowns and out receiving him, which you would have thought. Marcus Allen only has 4 catches for 61 yards, which we saw his one. So other than the one we saw against Bama, he has only 3 other catches on the year, where Ricky is 15 for 219. So Ricky is up there. Ricky's playing really well in this role, really, you know, commanding the main spot. Then lastly, we have SC, super crowded backfield with this Raleek Brown, who is getting the majority of the carries and doing well with them. And he's back next year. So Christian McCaffrey is buried. Marshall is still getting carries and still performing, but he is behind Raleek, who's getting the majority of it. If we look, yeah, so Raleek has 11 catches, Falk has 9, McCaffrey has 2. So yeah, so that is where everyone sits. Everyone, like, there's a few guys who are obviously buried, but everyone's getting a bit of a crack. I want to look at the top 25. I want to see where everyone's sitting. So USC, Bama, 1-2. So this would be Marshall Falk and Raleek Brown, obviously. And then we have Bo Jackson here on the rest of our team. So Oregon up there in the top 10, Florida up there, Georgia, Clemson. Yeah, so that's kind of where everyone is sitting. Yeah, so I mean, it'd be crazy if we were able to get a USC friggin' Alabama national title final. I mean, we definitely watch some of that, hop in, try to see Bo, all the boys do work. Let's see if anyone's in the Heisman chase. Not really. No one's really in that position to totally be dominating. They are only sophomores, so, and they're all only, you know, 92 to 94s. By next year, some of them will be 99s, I'd imagine. So it should get even crazier. Okay, we are going to simulate to the conference championship. Then we're going to simulate through that and go to the bowl season. And we're going to see, hopefully we have at least one cool matchup between our running backs in a bowl game. And I'm hoping we got Alabama versus USC in the Natty. All right, so we are officially in bowl season. Now, let's go back and look. Actually, should we wait for the stats? Maybe we'll wait for the stats after bowl season, because that will be their final stats. So let's, it's Alabama USC for the Natty. There we go. Miami just misses out. So we will definitely be watching that. I want to go through. We will see if we have any other cool matchups, but that is sick. Okay. So let's see who of our teams. So LSU, shitty bowl, not interested. Clemson versus Oregon, but Saquon's not even the starter. Texas, no. Texas A&M, Michigan State, we're good. Florida finished 10-3, but we're not interested in that. Georgia, 5th in the country, 10-2, led by Derrick Henry, I believe, but nope, not two of our guys matched up. Miami, Ohio State. Okay, so it's USC, Alabama. That's our only matchup, but we got Marshall Falk isn't the starter, and McCaffrey's third string. That Raleek Brown is the starter, but we have Bo Jackson on the other side, 1-2. USC going for trying to be back-to-back national champions with Caleb Williams last year as a starter before he leaves to the NFL. I mean, come on. We're definitely going to watch some of this. Same thing we just did. I'll basically just simulate till the fourth quarter. If it's close, we'll watch it. So that's the stats for each one. Wow, look at SC. 3rd ranked in points per game on offense, 1st on defense, and Alabama wasn't too shabby either, playing a tougher schedule in the SEC with 7th and 6th. Wow, these two are beasts of a matchup. Raleek and Darren / Marshall Falk in the backfield. Oh my goodness, Caleb Williams is questionable. So Caleb might not be playing Oh, and Milroe. I believe Milroe. So I maybe shouldn't have turned on injuries, but both starting quarterbacks might be out for this game, which is a little unfortunate. But hey, we're here for the running backs anyway. So yeah, I'm just going to sim through this first quarter and we'll see where we're at. So Caleb Williams is playing, I believe. Oh, actually, I don't think he is. Wow. Okay, so I don't think Caleb Williams is playing. But SC is up 7. We're going to go next change. Okay, so USC is up 14-0. We are going to go till halftime here. Okay, wow. A flurry of scores at the end there. And oh my goodness, Marshall Falk had a 101-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. We'll definitely have to look at the stats after this game, but we got 21 all at halftime. Let's go to the fourth quarter. Okay, so who's driving here? Okay, so we'll just watch here. Someone's in the red zone. So SC's in the red zone here. They have their backup quarterback, but they're in the red zone. And they are trying to score. They're already up 3 here. If they score a touchdown, they'll be up 2 scores. 3rd and 4 from the 4-yard line. Mario Williams with the big catch. Looks like Raleek is in the backfield, but we'll watch one more play. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a Marshall Falk sighting, but it does not look like it. It looks like Raleek is still in the backfield as the main running back. I form. Go to the fullback who gets absolutely stuffed. Bama holds on. They will hold him to a field goal. Still 1 possession game. Yeah, let's go next change. And oh wow. So Bama gets stopped with 2:27 left. So now SC up 6, 2:27, and the ball. Raleek in the backfield, backup quarterback in big. Oh, that's a big stick, but they gain 8 yards on the play. SC trying to go back to back with their starting quarterback hurt. This is pretty crazy. I wish Marshall Falk was in, but we still have Raleek Brown in the game. 2nd and 2. Bama does have all 3 timeouts. They need a stop here. They need a stop. They need that ball back, and they need a shot to go tie this, or actually a touchdown would put them up. And here we go. SC hands it off to Raleek, who gets the edge. Oh, I think he's about half. Oh, they gave him the first down. Wow, he was able to fall forward for the first down. I think I'm going to just simulate a play or two here. Raleek, 3rd and 2. Okay, so 3rd and 2, no timeouts. This is basically the game. Raleek Brown is in, not Marshall Falk. 4 down linemen here for the Alabama front. Another sweep, but they get the edge. Bama stops them. They have no timeouts. They cannot stop the clock, but they are going to get the ball back with about a minute left. Yeah, a minute 04. Bama football. They need a touchdown. A touchdown and an extra point wins it. Wow, here we go. So Alabama, they got Bo Jackson in the backfield. 3 wide receivers to the bottom of our screen here. What is going to happen? Drops back, trying to end USC's title bid. Wow, that's a huge gain. And they get the first down. In college, the clock will stop when you get a first down there. So that is absolutely huge. They can get to the line, hurry, and lose very little time. I would love to see Bo Jackson get the ball, even just like a little dump off, screen pass, something. Bo Jackson the flat, drop back, plenty of time, fires it in over the middle. That's another first down. Huge play. The clock will keep moving. They have no timeout. So being able to move that clock right there is so big. They are under center. I don't think they're going to go to Bo Jackson. The clock starts winding now. Plenty of time. This USC line is getting no pressure all the time in the world, but he runs into his own players and he's going down. Oh, that is a backbreaker. The SC secondary held on. There was no one deep. Are they going to try to spike this? That'll make it 3rd and 18 with 20 seconds left. That is probably going to be the game. Wow, he had all day to throw. He was sitting back there, taking his time, and, he goes down. The USC defenders must have just locked up on the back end because he had nowhere to go with the football. He went down out. His 3rd and 18 with 7 seconds left. Checks it down. Not going to be enough. Here we go. 4th and 12. They got to hurry to the line. 18 seconds. They basically need a first down here. They definitely need a first down here. Drops back, Bo, and checks it down. Oh, and he is down. Wow, that is it. USC holds on. They are going to be back-to-back national champions. Crazy. Without Caleb Williams, they win it. Beat Bama. 2 undefeated teams. Didn't get to see a ton of work from our guys, but we'll definitely go look at the stats. I forgot to do that after that Alabama-Texas A&M game. We saw Marshall Faulk had a kick return for a touchdown, so he put in some work. We'll see if Bo did anything for Bama. Okay, looking at the player stats, Trey Sanders, pretty good day. That just one at the end there was tough. Bo, decent, 19 carries, 82 yards, nothing insane. Bo had 1 catch for 3 yards, so nothing crazy there. We go to SC. Falk had 2 receptions for 25 yards. McCaffrey wasn't in the game at all, and Falk had 1 carry, so they were really leaning on Raleek, but I did see a kick return touchdown. So if we go here, Falk had 1 kick return for 101 yards and a touchdown, so that is an absolute game changer. He also had 16 kick return yards. That's something else I guess that we could look at here. Go check out the kick returns. Maybe some guys were absolutely killing it in the kick return game. Like, I mean, they're some of the best athletes of all time, so that would not be surprising. Okay, I'm just going to sim through the rest of the Bulls. Then we'll look at the final stats. We'll look at the All-Americans for this second season. All these guys sophomore years. All right, so we can look at the Heisman. I already seen this. None of our guys. Oh, Derrick Henry won the Heisman. Okay, I didn't even realize that. Wow. Okay, so I'm excited to see his stats. Derrick Henry, crazy. So he's going to be first team All-American as well, I'd imagine. He's not, which is odd, but that can happen. He was second team. So second team All-American for Derrick Henry, won the Heisman. So okay, good to know. Okay, let's go look at the stats. Obviously, we imagine Derrick put up some big ones. But we're going to start with Bama and Bo and look at, the runners up this year. Bo Jackson's first year really as the main starter. He had 1,100 yards. Miller did take a decent amount of work from him. Only 4.9 yards per carry. So Bo wasn't amazing, but a good second year for sure. Bo, 315 yards. So he had a good total of like 1,400 yards. So good, not great year for Bo is how I would characterize that. We go to Army. We got to imagine Zeke. So 1,500 yards, 19 touchdowns. Probably not getting a ton of work through the air, only 151 yards. But, I mean, this guy in this offense is going to just put up huge stats every year. Okay, then we're going to go to Clemson with Reggie. Honestly, a good amount of work in this offense. You have, Will Shipley, who's going to get a ton of the carries, 99 overall, but Reggie made his mark on a good team. Also 20 catches, but Shipley had 500. Reggie's going to be in this role next year. I'm expecting Reggie to absolutely explode next year in that offense. Then we're going to go to Florida, where we had Gurley and Barry. So Barry ended up getting a bit of work. Earlier in the year, he was getting none. So I really hope he Montreal's gone. So Barry's going to get work next year. Oh, they have Etienne. Unless Etienne passes Barry, but we'll see. Gurley had a great first year, a really good second year as well. We'll look at receiving yards. Gurley added 380 yards there as well. So Barry only had 2 catches. So Gurley really had 1,700 yards on the year. Gurley's been very, very, very good. Okay, if we look at rushing, so here we go. Georgia Bulldogs, 1,400 yards, and they had their backup at 1,100. So Georgia must have been just running the ball friggin' 30, 40, 50 times a game. 21 touchdowns and another 360 through the air and 3 touchdowns. So he had 24 touchdowns, about 1,800 yards. So absolutely massive year from Derrick Henry. Obviously won the Heisman. Yeah, that's about all you could ask for there. Next, we have LSU. We have 2 guys here. AP is in the lead back role, 1,100 yards. Good season, only 6 touchdowns. Herschel only 549. So these 2 didn't really blow up this year, and neither of them got a ton of work in the pass game. Peterson did add 5 touchdowns in the pass game, but overall, not a ton of work there. Then we go down to Oregon, another player who's in the backup role behind a really good running back, but who's going to be the full-time starter next year and should explode in this role. So 900 yards, good as, your secondary running back, 6.4 yards per carry, 9 touchdowns. This Irving guy got a ton of work. Irving added another 400 yards where, Barkley only got 156. So I'm expecting huge improvements from Bush and Barkley next year. I think they're both in great spots to just absolutely blow up. Okay, then if we look at Texas, we have Leonard Fournette and Earl Campbell. Once again, Fournette was the starter, but I think Earl Campbell's just played better. You know, just yards per carry, average, you know, long runs. I would go Earl next year, but we will see. But Fournette did a really good job in the pass game. 19. Okay, so that might be the deciding factor for the coaching staff. They're saying, you know what, Fournette's just better in the pass game, and we appreciate that, which is fair. Then we have Ricky and Marcus. Ricky 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns on 6 yards per carry. Very, very good. Then we look at Marcus Allen, 536 and 3 tutties, so decent there. Ricky added 324 yards, Marcus only 155, so Ricky is getting the lion's share of the work there, 100%. Then we go down to USC, back-to-back national champions. If we look, so Caleb was out for a good portion of the year. Otherwise, they would have just been absolutely unstoppable. Obviously, Raleek was the starter. He's 1 overall more. Hopefully, Marshall can overtake him next year, or McCaffrey. Like, McCaffrey's only 2 behind them. McCaffrey obviously hasn't got a ton of work yet. Marshall, I mean, this Raleek's good. It'd just be nice to see our guys getting the work. This Mario Williams, huge year receiving. But then we have, Marshall 235, Raleek had 237, and McCaffrey had 222. Actually, I wanted to see, just because we did see some kick returns. Did Marshall? Okay, so Marshall had, you know, pretty good year returning the ball as well. Really good kick returner. All right, so that is where everyone sits there. Back-to-back national champions for USC. Now, this year is going to be the interesting one. Guys are going to go up. There should be some 99s. We're going to have guys leaving. So roles should be opening up. This is going to be the big one. Guys should be in the position like Barkley and Reggie to take over these roles and absolutely explode. So I'm going to sim through this off season, go into next season, and we'll see where everyone's overall sits and how much they improved. All right, so here we are at the start of year 3. We are first going to look at the rosters once again, and we're going to see where each one of these guys sits, see who is, you know, who improved the most. See, almost everyone other than the guy who have multiple of them at the same school should all be the starter now, I believe. So Bo went up to a 97 overall, 240 pounds, 99 speed, 99 excel, 89 trucking, freak of nature for Alabama. Then we go to Army. Elliott went up to an 98 overall, all around nasty running back for Army. Then we go down to Clemson, and Reggie Bush alone in this backfield went up to a 98 overall, absolutely nasty receiver out of the backfield, do-it-all player, rocking number 25 like he did in the NFL. Wow. And then we go to Florida, and we have 2 99s. Barry and Gurley. Barry might be this might be the first year he actually gets some run. He could be even the starter over Gurley. Who knows? Wow. Barry, absolutely giant step up. That is going to be interesting. Then Derrick Henry, reigning Heisman Trophy winner, a 99 overall, 99 break tackle. Really, really good for him. Going down to LSU and Herschel Walker. So Herschel Walker was actually the backup here, I believe, last year, but he jumps up to a 99. AP is only a 97. So Herschel should have full control of this LSU backfield. Okay, then we're going down to Oregon. This is the one where I said Saquon should be in a prime spot to absolutely dominate. He goes up to a 97. Clear cut #1 running back. Should be an absolute smash there for Oregon. Then we're going to go down to Texas. We're going to see Leonard Fournette still ahead of Earl Campbell. 1 overall. He should be getting the majority of the backfield still. So big for them. Texas A&M and Ricky 99. Marcus only 96. So Ricky is really kind of putting a stranglehold on the A&M backfield, taking that over. Then USC. This is going to be a big one. Can these two both overtake Raleek, who's going to be back? If not, can at least just Marshall overtake him? And Raleek, oh my gosh, they're all 99s. They are all 99s. You know what? I haven't done this, but I might cheat this a little bit. I want to see Christian get a chance. So we don't need 399 running backs. We're just going to drop Raleek down a little bit. Let these two just take over. 399s. Come on. Let's see who wins it out between McCaffrey and Darren. Oh, can I? I could switch his name right now. So yeah, I accidentally called him Darren for some reason. I don't know. I think I was going to make Darren McFadden. and then I decided not to and went with Falk instead. So I actually think that's what happened. So Marshall, yeah, it was Darren McFadden. That makes sense. Marshall, I'm assuming his name isn't spelled weird, just normal, but that at least looks better. Okay, so Marshall Falk, Christian McCaffrey, sorry Raleek, we kind of sewered you there, but I want to see these two getting the full workload. Both 99s. That is crazy. Okay, let's look at, top 25 preseason polls. USC is back-to-back national champions. They are in 99 across the board still. Bama is, in number 5. That's our next highest ranked team. Then Georgia, 99s across the board with Derrick Henry. Oregon, 99s across the board with Saquon. Florida there. LSU right there. Texas right there. So we're going to have some guys in the mix here to make noise. So this should be super entertaining. Let's look at preseason All-Americans. Let's look at this early Heisman watch as well. So first preseason All-American, defending Heisman Trophy winner, we have Derrick Henry. Second team, neither of our guys. So interesting right there. Let's look at Heisman watch. You got to think, yeah, Derrick Henry's first in the Heisman watch. Absolute freak of nature. Raleek Brown is 5th, but we kind of sewered him. But you know what? I don't feel too bad for Raleek. Okay, now I'm going to go and I'm going to look at our schedules for this year. And I'm going to see if we can find a good matchup. That's a pretty good one. Wow. Texas A&M Bama. That's the one we went to last year, but I'm really tempted to find Alabama Georgia. If they play this year in the regular season, that game could be crazy. Florida, Georgia. Wow. So we have Alabama, Georgia in week 13, and then we have Florida, Georgia, I think week 10 or week 9. Yeah, we have Florida, Georgia, week 9. So I'm just going to sim to this game. We'll take a look at the stats. We'll see where everyone sits. If these guys are both, undefeated, 1 loss, maybe we'll hop into this one. All right. So here we are in week 9. Oh, Georgia fell off the map. 4-3. Florida is 7-1 though. So we might have to do a little bit of digging, find a different matchup. But let's see where everyone's sitting. Let's look at the top 25 is Bama, so Bama undefeated, 6-0. Oregon undefeated. They have an absolute killer squad led by Saquon. Okay, so we could get an Alabama-Oregon final. Florida 7-1, A&M 7-1. Texas 5-1. USC has actually lost 2 games, so they're not going to, repeat and get their 3rd national championship in a row. But so Bama, Oregon, that could be cool if we somehow got another 2 of our teams matched up. Let's see Heisman watch. Barry Sanders barely got run in his first 2 years. Ricky Williams, Saquon. So we have 3 of the top 5. That is sick. Let's look at the stats. Obviously, these stats, not everyone's played the same amount of games at this point of the year. But hey, let's take a little look and then we'll look at the end of the year. Adam Richardson is just getting a ton of work. They're going running back by committee. So, Bo isn't getting as much run as you maybe would have assumed, but 8 touchdowns, you will take that for Bo. And then if you look at receiving, Bo 165, you'll probably take that. That seems pretty decent. Okay, then we're going to go to Army where we know Zeke is going to be getting a ton of run. 1,200 yards already. 11 touchdowns, 7 yards per carry. I imagine he'll probably end up, we'll look at the career stats at the end. I'll imagine he's going to end up with the most, just absolutely nasty. Okay, if you look at receiving yards, he's only got 6 catches, but for 150 yards. So every time he touches the ball, it is absolute fire. Okay, I want to look at Clemson here and Reggie, his first year. Oh my goodness, John Mann has taken a ton of the work. So Reggie, when he touches the ball, 6.5 yards per carry, but he is splitting the workload a decent amount. If you look at receiving, he is getting a good amount of work in the pad. Actually not that great. 119 isn't amazing. So I was expecting a little bit more from our man Reggie, but pretty good. If we go down to Florida, so we already know Barry is in the lead for the Heisman. So okay, 700 yards. So he's in the lead for Heisman, which is totally fair. 6.5 yards, 9 touchdowns. Zeke is playing in a totally different situation, but Zeke has 1,200 yards at this point, which is nuts. They have a 1-2 punch here. Thunder and lightning with Barry and Gurley. Barry's also averaging 277 through the air. Gurley isn't getting much work in the pass game this year. 3 touchdowns. So Barry playing really, really well. We look to Georgia. So Henry, 820 yards. It's probably going to hurt him a little bit that Georgia isn't performing underperforming stat-wise up to where you would have thought. But between these two, 6.5 and 6.8 yards a carry, we know they're going to run the ball a ton. Derek's only had 9 receptions, so not doing much to the air, but you know what? Like they're going to put in work with those two every single time. Then we go down to LSU. We have Herschel and AP. Herschel is the leading back this year. 7.4 yards per carry for Herschel freaking Walker. Wow. 7 touchdowns. AP has 8. Herschel adding almost 200 yards and a touchdown. But wow, that is insane. 7.4 yards per catch is absolutely crazy. Okay, we're gonna go down to Oregon. So Oregon is the number 2 team in the nation. They're undefeated. This is our man Saquon's first year in the backfield. I'm guessing these stats are gonna be sick. Okay, so they are going super committee here. Saquon 671, 11 touchdowns. I mean, you can't even get mad at it. This Jordan James, when he touches the ball, he's averaging 7 yards a carry. Saquon's at 6.6. It is doing the job. Barkley's 173 through the air. So not quite what I was expecting, but you know, a lot of committees here, which can eat into, you don't have that like workhorse back, but okay. So here, not getting a ton of carries, but way out carrying Earl, who's hurt. Earl is hurt. Leonard Fournette's back. Every time Earl touches the ball, it seems like 6.7 yards per carry. He just doesn't get the work here. And Fournette's always been a good receiver. 227 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, you know, Leonard Foe is putting in work. Then we go to A&M. And we have Ricky. Oh, Marcus Allen got hurt, but this is Ricky's backfield. 833 yards, 8.4 yards per rush for Ricky Williams. Holy. If he's doing anything through the air, which he's not, 220 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Ricky looks like an absolute freak show for A&M. Then we're going to end this off with SC, where we're going to have McCaffrey and Falk. So crazy 1-2 punch backfield here. Great receivers. McCaffrey, 7.6 yards per rush. Falk all the way up at 6.5, and they're both really good receivers. McCaffrey only 3 catches, but Falk 19 for 3 touchdowns as well. Wow, so that is where everyone sits. Very interesting. Yeah, so we saw our top 25. I'm gonna look at our scores and schedule, see if there's a decent game we can get into. Actually, you know what? I looked, there's nothing crazy. I'm just gonna sim. We're gonna sim to the conference championship weekend, and then if there's a big conference championship game, we'll hop into that, like especially the SEC championship. I could see, you know, good matchup there. If not, we'll look at the bowl games. All right, so here we are, conference championship weekend. Let's go look at the score. Oh, I got a little sneak peek there. We are going to have USC and Oregon, Alabama, Florida. 10-2 versus 10-2, and 11-1 versus 10-2. I think we're going to watch USC Oregon. I think the winner of this has a good shot to make the Natty. Let's look at the top 25. Let's see how many undefeated teams there are. Wow. Okay. So North Carolina is the only undefeated team. Penn State's 12-1, USC, Oregon, Bama. So these are the next 4. Like, wow. Okay. So this will be very interesting. Yeah, I definitely want to watch the Oregon. I want to see some Barkley. I think that'd be cool. So we're just going to hop in right now. Let's take a peek. So that's where they all sit. Wow, Oregon, 3rd ranked team in the nation points per game. USC down a little bit at 15th, but 2 pretty evenly matched teams. We got Marshall Falk, Christian McCaffrey, their 2 go-to weapons. Pretty scary backfield there. And then we got Saquon for Oregon. So cool. Let's see what happens here, boys. Okay, so same thing. We are going to just sim through the quarters, get to the 4th quarter, and we'll see where we stand. Okay, close first. 3-0 Oregon. Not a ton of offense. Let's keep going. Okay, definitely more scoring. Each team got 2 touchdowns. 17-14 Oregon. Let's get to the 4th quarter. There we go. 24-17 for Oregon. I think USC is about to get the ball back. Yeah, so Falk. Okay, there it is. So USC just scored to tie it with 3:30 left. Well, let's watch the... Oh, they missed the extra point. USC missed the extra point. They're stuck 1. Wow, so now we could get a full dose of Saquon Barkley trying to end this game right here, but USC gets him in the backfield. Barkley goes down. Sorry, Saquon. But, I mean, we should be seeing more of Saquon here. You want to try to, run this ball, ice this game right here. You have a lead with 2:57 left. Let's see what they do here. I'm expecting another Saquon carry. Let's see if this USC defense is up for the challenge. Okay, here we go. Oregon drops back. Huge blitz, but they fire it in for the first down. They had a huge blitz coming off the edge there. Thompson stays in the pocket and delivers that football. Wow, great play. Oh no. I accidentally just super simmed when I did not want to. Okay, I might have just screwed all this up. Okay, Okay, who has the ball? Okay, USC has the ball. I accidentally pressed change of possession. I was trying to just sim one play. Okay, so Oregon gave up the ball. I don't know how. USC now has it, and their QB goes down for a sack, and it's 2nd and 12 with a minute 30 left. They do have 3 timeouts. So we have Marshall Faulk or Christian McCaffrey in the backfield here. So we should see one of them maybe get the football. There's Marshall. We're in shotgun. Let's see what he's got. A little swing pass out of the backfield, and he's going to go to Marshall in the open field, runs a guy over, but he is short. That is 3rd and 2. Does not look like they're going to use one of their timeouts. They're going to let this clock run, which I probably would have used one there, but hey, they have a minute left. Really, they only need a field goal, I guess. I was thinking they need a touchdown, but they need to kick a field goal to win it, but their kicker already missed an extra point. So, yeah, I mean, they are just letting this clock run. Are they just trying to run this clock down? You guys are losing. You need a first down here. I don't know. This is an interesting choice. Sometimes the clock management in this game can be weird. Yeah, but here they go. Marshall up the middle. Oh my gosh, what a broken tackle by Marshall Faulk. That was about to be 4th and 2 after letting the clock run down, but instead Marshall, and now they're hurrying to the line. You have 3 timeouts. You don't want to use one, but you let the clock run down. I don't know. Okay, here we go. Drops back, fires in a little hitch, but he's short. Well, that was a big stick, but they don't use their timeouts. I don't get it. They're hurrying the line. They have 3 timeouts. They don't use them. I can't call a timeout. I've had some comments like, oh, call one for them. I can't. Here we go. Drop back. Like this could be it right there to the end zone. Oh, that was in his hands. Wow. Crazy. So they are going to go for a game-winning field goal here with 6 seconds left. If they win this, they have a chance to go to their 3rd straight national final. They won the last 2. Kick is up, and it is good. Oregon is going to have 3 seconds left. Basically, you need a crazy kick return or something. Wow. Oregon had an interception in their hands, and they dropped it. I would be putting Saquon Barkley back there and see if he could make some magic happen. Wow. Okay, so he's going to take a knee. So you're basically going to have a Hail Mary from, the 20-yard line. So this game is over. I'm just going to super sim it. USC, I mean, they have 2 losses, but they won the Pac-12 again, but they have an outside chance of making the national final again. And that is a heartbreaking loss for Oregon. In your hands in the end zone, and you just drop a wide open pick with 6 seconds left to ice the game. Okay, let's look quickly at the stats here. Saquon, 17 carries, 70 yards, but did have a touchdown, so you'll take that. Receiving, Barkley had 1 catch, 1 yard, so nothing really. Marshall Faulk had 77 receiving yards. McCaffrey added another 13. And then if we look at rushing, 78 yards for Marshall, and McCaffrey added another 10. So USC takes it home, winning the Pac again, this time without Caleb Williams. Have a chance to go to the Natty. We will see. We're going to sim through this week and we'll see who's in it. Decent chance one of our teams makes it, but maybe none. Wow. Okay. Heisman was just announced and Saquon takes it home by a ton of votes. Kind of shocking. The only one of our guys in the running this year. Only 1,600 yards. I mean, good year. Only 21 touchdowns. Like, good year. I honestly thought his year would be better, but he takes home the Heisman. So, I mean, obviously you can't be mad at it. Okay, so USC is in the national final again. That is crazy. Okay, let's look at the scores and schedules. Let's see if we have any other bowl matchups here. There's Texas against Minnesota in the Cotton Bowl. Not interested. Army, Ezekiel Maida against Notre Dame. But no, we don't want to watch that. Georgia, not a great year, 7-5. I thought they had a much better team than that. Texas A&M versus Vol Tech. Bama versus Ohio State. That's a great game, but not 2 of our teams, so we're not going to watch it. Clemson, only 8-4. I thought they had a little more talent than that, but that's a decent year. Oregon, what a heartbreaking loss. They'd be in the Natty right now. In the Fiesta Bowl against Kentucky. Florida versus Oklahoma State in the Sugar Bowl, and then the national. Where was Bama? Oh, Bama, Ohio State, right? That was real Quest Bowl. Yeah, so the national final, SC in it again. They got in over Bama, and Bama had 3 losses. Okay, so Bama must have lost it. Basically down to, I think, basically Alabama or Florida or USC or Ohio State. And yeah, so they ended up going SC. I'm not going to watch it because we only have 1 running back in it. We've watched a ton of USC stuff. So we're just going to sim through. And we'll see. Does USC win their friggin' third straight national championship? And then we will look at the final stats. Okay, so North Carolina wins. They knock off USC. Crazy. So yeah, that could have been an absolute just. So what was the score in that game? Okay, so NC kind of put it on them a little bit, but wow, that would have been crazy. Would have been 3 straight for SC. Crazy. Let's look at the All-Americans. We already know Saquon won the Heisman, but he is not the first team All-American running back. We have Tulane and USF, so sometimes this can be weird, but Barkley is second team All-American. Okay, we're going to look at the final season stats for all our boys here. We'll see where they're all sitting. Then we're actually also going to look at their career stats, because technically some of these players, I haven't noticed they do a ton, but some of these players could leave for the draft after this year. So there's not a guarantee all these guys will be back, and then next year will be our last season in the sim. So Bo Jackson just kind of got poached here by Richardson, but still 1,300 yards, 17 touchdowns, added another 289. So a good 1,600 yards, 20 touchdowns on the year, 19 touchdowns for Bo. Army, we have Zeke, 1,848 yards, only 15 touchdowns for that many yards, and then 205. So he had about a 2,000 yard season as a junior. Crazy. Okay, then we go down to Clemson. Bush, 1,234 yards, splitting time, 6.1 yards per carry, 15 touchdowns on the ground. If you look at his receiving yards, 323, so decent. Not quite as much receiving as I would have expected, but really good year for Reggie. Then we go to Florida. At one point, Barry was projected to win the Heisman. I don't know. I don't think he was ever, his stats were that gaudy, but 1,291 yards, you will take that with Todd Gurley. Absolute freak show 1-2 punch. And if you look on the ground, through the air, Barry added another almost 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. So Barry had a very, very good year. Then we go to Georgia. And we have Derrick Henry, 1,780. Woo! In the SEC, averaging almost 7 yards per carry. Plus, if you look through the air, he's their third leading receiver with 300. So he had over 2,000 yards, 16 touchdowns. Not quite there touchdowns wise, but just a crazy year. I think I missed LSU. And we got LSU. We got Herschel Walker. These two pretty much split time. Herschel, 7.1 yards per carry. Crazy. 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. AP had decent, not crazy. Herschel added 360 on the ground, or through the air. Herschel, good season, not great, not outstanding like some of these other guys. Then we got Oregon and Barkley, who won the Heisman, but honestly, I thought his stats were good. 1,400 rushing yards, a pretty good 21 touchdowns. You're going to take that. What was his yards per carry actually as well? 6.4 yards per carry, really, really good. Then he added 339 through the air. So I don't know if I would have, his year was probably not better than Henry's, but they had a chance to go to the Natty. So I think record probably played a part in that, but there we go. And we got Texas, Leonard Fournette. Earl got injured, missed a lot of this year. Fournette's just kind of had a stranglehold on this backfield. 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns. Always been a really good receiver, almost 400 yards and another 5 tutties. Then we go to A&M, and this is where Earl Campbell is kind of taking the stranglehold here. 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, almost 7 yards per catch. Marcus still a good year in the backup role, but not amazing. And Ricky added 410 yards through the air. So Ricky, great season as well. Then lastly, we have our SC boys, and we have 1,412 yards for Marshall. So Marshall had a great year, only 11 touchdowns. McCaffrey really good in kind of that secondary role. Then if you look through the air, Marshall Faulk added almost 500 yards receiving. So I think he had the most receiving yards. Really crazy. Okay, now I want to look at their career stats quickly. I don't want to go too deep on this, just because this technically could be, some of these guys could leave for the draft, so we're not guaranteed. So I'm kind of interested to who has the most rushing yards. So Bo Jackson has 2,554. Then if we go to Army, we have 4,500 for Zeke. I don't think anyone else is going to be close to that. Clemson, we have 2,400. So not really even in the same ballpark. 3,400 for Gurley. At the end of the 4 seasons, we'll do a deeper dive on their career stats. Henry, 3,400, and we'll kind of look at who we think actually was the best. LSU, 2319, so not great considering how many carries those two are getting. We go down to Oregon and Barkley, 3,000 for Barkley, pretty good. Go down to Texas, 3,600 for Lenny Foe. Like, he's just really had the stranglehold there. Another 3,600 for Ricky. Then SC, and we have 3,600 for Marshall. So a lot of guys in that 3,600 range. Only Ezekiel at Army, but he's basically been the starter for 3 years now, and he has 4,500 yards. So that is going to be the end of season 3, guys. We're going to sim to season 4 now, and we'll look at where the ratings are. We'll see who actually left for the draft, and then we have one more season to see the final kind of standings, see where all these guys end up. All right, guys, here we go at the start of season 4. So this is going to be the final season. Put it all on the table. We're going to see where these guys up. So we're going to look at the rosters one more time. We're going to look at kind of where each one of these guys sits. And I actually kind of want to look at the rest of the roster for each team and just see who kind of has really good title contention hope. So first we have Bama, Bo Jackson, obviously a freak of nature, 99 overall, 99 speed, 6'1", 240 pounds. His break tackle, 98, 93 truck, absolute freak. Not a great receiver out of the backfield, but basically can do it all. Accidentally backed out there. But like I said, I actually want to kind of look at the rest of the roster too. So they have a 90. Oh my goodness. They got a ton of 99s, 299 receivers, decent QB in Sanders. So you got to imagine this Alabama team is one of the best teams in the country, led by Bojack. Then if we go to Army, they have obviously Ezekiel Elliott up top. And then, you know, I mean, this is an Army squad. He's probably the best player in Army history. So absolute freak. Gonna lead the 4 years in rushing, so really good career for him. Obviously at a small independent school though. Then we go to Clemson, and Clemson has Bush, who's clearly their superstar and obviously nowhere close to kind of what Alabama does. So they don't look like they're title contenders, but a good overall team. Reggie, really good overall running back, obviously a little on the smaller side, but really good receiver out of the backfield along with his running. Then we go to Florida. They have Barry. Oh my goodness, so they have 399 running backs. I'm actually gonna drop Etienne down, similar to what I did with the USC guy a few years ago. Sorry, that was like a day ago that I recorded this now. Raleek Brown, just because I want those two to play. We don't need 399 running backs here muddling it up. But other than that, I mean, they have a 97 QB, a big defensive tackle on the inside. Oh my gosh, they have 390 QBs. So they've been recruiting QBs well. I mean, I think they have an outside. Oh, they have 490 QBs. Holy crap. All seniors, all redshirt seniors. Oh yeah, that's interesting. So Florida definitely has a good shot. That'll be the cool thing with the new NCAA game coming out next year. I'm sure transferring, if they're in a spot where they're not getting playing time, they'll transfer out. Doing these sims then will be really cool. Okay, going to Georgia. They have Derrick Henry, really, you know, good squad overall, some high 90s. I still think Bama's the best team we've seen, but Georgia looks really solid there. And then obviously we didn't even really look at him, but Derrick Henry, 245 pounds, do it all, 99 break tackle with 99 truck, 95 friggin' ball carrier vision, absolute freak show. Then we go to LSU, and they got Peterson and Walker up top, and then just like a okay squad. So definitely not on Bama's level. Obviously you have two just freaks at the top, but not a ton else. Then we're going to go down to Oregon. Oregon was one game away from making the national final last year, but they lost to SC. They have Barkley. They have a big offensive lineman, really good corner, good middle linebacker, another good running back. Good team overall. Definitely will compete for the pack. Not on Alabama's level at the top, but I mean, and then Saquon, 99 speed. Oh my God. Saquon's been gaining some weight. He's up to all the way to 240 pounds with 97 speed. So yeah, Saquon's turned out to be an absolute beast. Then we're going to go down to the Texas schools. Okay. So Texas is loaded. They have Leonard and Earl up top. 99 DN, 290. Oh my goodness. They have 399 offensive linemen to go along with Fournette and Campbell. This could be the best running team in the country. 99 or 97 free safety, another 97 running back, a 95 QB. So this team might even be better than that Alabama team. This Texas team looks absolutely freaking loaded and led by Earl Campbell and Leonard Fournette. Then we go to A&M. good, not quite on that level, but I mean a 99 tight end, 99 strong safety, really good QB, another safety, another running back, very good. So Texas, Bama looked the best to me, but that's really good as well. And then our last team, USC. Okay, so SC definitely looks like they've taken a step back. They've made 3 straight national championships, 1, 2. They have Marshall and McCaffrey up top. They have a good center, good QB. So I mean, they're going to be in contention. They have another good center. I'm sure he'll play guard or something. And they don't seem to have that high, the mid 90s depth of Texas and Alabama, though. Those two definitely look like the best teams to me. But there we go. Christian and Marshall Falk, very similar running backs overall. Like, you look at their stats, they're going to be very similar throughout. Both really good receivers. It looks like Marshall's a slightly better one. Yeah, so that is where we stand, boys. That is what everyone's looking like. This is it, season 4. So I'm gonna go through the schedules, try to find where we have a cool looking, game, cool looking matchup later on in the year. Okay, I think we're gonna sim to week 10. I think last season I simmed to around this time of Georgia, Florida as well. I think this will be a good point to sim to. See, both these teams are doing well. We could check out this game, or we could find a game like kind of in this area to check out as well. So we're gonna sim to week 10. All right, so here we are in week 10, and Florida has a great record. Georgia has kind of fallen off at 5-3. So we're going to check out the top 25, see where our guys sit. So Michigan undefeated, Texas A&M 8-0. I did, when I looked at the roster, I said, you know what, that does look pretty decent. USC 7-1. USC just dominating out west. Florida 7-1. Where is Bama? Oregon. Bama must have lost a few games. Bama 5-3 with that roster is kind of shocking. Texas 3 losses with that roster is shocking. So maybe we can get USC, Florida in there, A&M, maybe Oregon could squeeze in, Clemson 6-1. So some good matchups there, guys sitting in some good spots. Okay, let's look at some stats, see how each one of these guys is doing. Obviously, it's their last year. We should see some pretty gaudy stats. We should see, okay, so I don't know if Bo Jackson got hurt, but he's getting out carried by Adam Richardson, averaging 7.3 yards per carry. So when he touches the ball, he's been an absolute freak show. But I'm assuming, oh my gosh, but he's added 400 receiving yards and the season's not done. I don't even know if we've had anyone break 500 receiving yards. So Bo, I mean, not getting the carries, but when he touches the football, he is an absolute nightmare to stop. We look at Army, obviously Ezekiel Elliott, he's going to finish with the most rushing yards, except he did get hurt. Wow. 1,000 rushing yards already, 10 touchdowns, just absolutely unstoppable in that Army triple option type. Reggie Bush getting out touched, but once again, when he touches the ball, 7.3 yards per carry, just like Bo, only 3 touchdowns compared to 9 with his backup. He does have 212 yards receiving, but don't love that. I want to see our guys getting all the work. If we go here, Barry, then Gurley. So Barry has taken over for Gurley as the starter, who started out really, but look at these two. You can see how talented all these guys are getting in these late years. 7.7 yards per carry and 7.4, a 90-yard long run with an 80-yard, like, just both really, really good. If you look at receiving, Barry's got 183, Gurley's only got 1 catch, so definitely doing most of their damage. But I mean, Florida's got 1 loss on the back of these two. They're going to be in the running. Derrick Henry, this team runs the ball. They also have this running quarterback now, Shelton Mitchell, backup running back. They just run the ball. They have 3 guys averaging over 40 yards per game, 7.1 yards per carry for Derrick Henry with 8 touchdowns. If we look at receiving, he's got 10 catches, so not doing a ton, but definitely still obviously a weapon for them. If we go down to LSU, we got AP and Herschel Walker, and their QB runs a lot. So once again, another team running the ball a ton. All these guys are averaging over like 7.5 yards per carry. Only 1 touchdown for Herschel, but when he gets the rock, he's been super effective. If we look at receiving, AP, Herschel's getting basically no work through the air. AP's getting a bit, pretty successful, nothing too crazy. And go down to Oregon now with our man Saquon Barkley. So still a bit of a split backfield here. He's only averaging 6.9, which is obviously still really good, but when you look at some of the other guys, it falls a little bit short. His backup's got 11 touchdowns, so he's just getting scooped here. and Saquon's getting some work through the air, but not like his starter before Saquon became the starter was like getting so many receiving yards. So kind of unfortunate there. Here we have actually for the first time Earl Campbell is getting the majority of the carries over Leonard Fournette. Both, good yards per carry average, very similar in touchdowns, but Earl is getting the majority, but Leonard's always been the better receiver by far. So 17 carries for 241 yards and 4 touchdowns, where Earl has 4 catches for 16 yards on the season. If we go down to A&M, we got Ricky, pretty consistently been the starter over Marcus Allen. No different here. Marcus is not, obviously 5.9 in a normal scenario is really good per carry, but when you look at all these other guys in the 7s or low or high 6s, 5.9 kind of 6 sticks out is not great. And then if we look at the receiving, both of them getting work in the passing game, almost identical amount of work as well. So, Marcus is still an amazing backup running back, obviously, but I don't know if he's been a little bit of a disappointment, I would say, even for his role. Then if we look here, this is almost a split down the middle backfield, which I am totally fine with. This is kind of crazy production. 8 yards per carry for Fall, 7.6 for McCaffrey, 20 more carries for McCaffrey, very similar yardage, similar touchdowns. If we look at receiving, McCaffrey, they're almost identical receiving as well. So these two just splitting it basically down the middle, just let them put in work. If you look, so almost 100 yards rushing per game for both of them, and they're both averaging, it doesn't show you, yards per game here, and then they're both getting another like 20 to 25 yards, so they're both at like 125 yards per game. So that is pretty nice. Okay, we can go look at the Heisman watch, see if any of our guys are in the running for that. Texas A&M quarterback, Bama quarterback. So McCaffrey is kind of the best running back in that spot right there. We looked at the top 25. Okay, I'm gonna look at the scores, or look at the schedules and see if we can find ourselves a good game here. Okay, nothing really stuck out to me, so we're just gonna sim to the conference championship weekend. I'm sure either in the SEC or PAC or something, we'll have 2 of our guys and we can watch that. Then we'll go to the bowl games and we'll check out those. All right, so here we are in the conference championship weekend. Let's check out the top 25 polls. Texas A&M undefeated at the top, Oregon in at the 3 spot, Clemson in at the 4, Florida there at 7, Bama 3 losses, kind of shot themselves in the foot. So we're gonna have a good opportunity to see a few of our teams having a shot to make the national finals. So we're gonna look at scores and schedules here. We can go to conference championship. So we've Miami, Clemson, Texas A&M, and Florida. We are definitely going to check out this game. This is 2 teams we haven't really watched, with four of our running backs between these 2 teams. So lots of stuff going around here, and yeah, we're definitely going to check it out. Conference championship weekend. If the Aggies win, they will be in the national final with Ricky Williams and Marcus Allen. So yeah, well, let's check it out. All right, so that's where they all sit stat wise. 2 of the best rushing teams in the country, 268 yards for 4th, 241 for 9th. Points per game, they're very similar, both good, not great defensively. There's their top players for, somehow Harrison is their top, that doesn't make sense, and there's theirs, none of that makes sense. But here we go, SEC championship, and make sure you guys stick around to the end, guys, because we are going to check out the final stats on all these players, look at their final career stats over their 4-year career, and we can sim through and go to the players leaving thing is in the off season, and we can actually see where each one of them gets drafted, if they're a 1st rounder, 2nd rounder, 3rd rounder, everything like that. So we can actually see like who did the NFL think was the best out of these guys. And same here, guys, I am just gonna sim to the 4th quarter, and if it's close, we will hop in. So it's actually 17-7 at halftime for Florida over A&M. So A&M 12-0. They gotta take this home to get to the Natty. Florida, if they win, they'll have an outside chance at making the Natty themselves. So this is obviously just a huge game. Okay, so Texas A&M was able to score twice in the 4th quarter. It is 24-21, but Florida is driving, and they are just giving the ball to Barry Sanders. 1st and goal from the 1-yard line here. Looks like they have Barry Sanders in the backfield at Florida in pistol right here. Let's see if we can get Barry a tutty to go up 2 scores here for the Florida Gators in this SEC championship game. Yeah, oh, they're actually doing a little speed option, and the QB takes it in himself. Wow. So A&M is in trouble. 4 minutes left. They are down 2 scores. They are going to need a quick score themselves, get a stop, get the ball back, and score once again. So not in a great spot, but you know, it's not impossible. Okay, Marcus Allen, 10-yard rush. Okay, so Florida just got the ball back. Yeah, okay, so this game's basically over. Okay, so A&M actually gets the ball back right here. Marcus Allen. Okay, so big play there. Okay, well, watch this. I mean, this game probably is over. 23 first downs to only 10 for A&M. Doesn't look great for them. Only a $140 left. They need an absolute miracle, down 2 scores. Jumps it off to Marcus Allen in the flat. Gets about 6 to 7 yards there, but they basically need a touchdown here. Onside kick, and then a 3 or a 7 to win it. So here we go. Drops back, fires it underneath to Marcus Allen again, and he picks up a ton of yardage. Back-to-back big receptions for Marcus Allen. Should be a really good receiver for A&M, even though if he never totally panned out in that sense. Marcus Allen is still in the backfield. No Ricky Williams right now. This does suit kind of Marcus Allen's abilities here as a receiver. He actually stays in the block there, and they hit the slant over the middle. Okay, 1:08 left. They get the touchdown. They're stuck 4-3 if they're able to get the extra point. So this is going to be very interesting. Okay, onside kick recovered by Florida. I wanted to watch that. I simmed too far. So A&M does have 3 timeouts, but Barry Sanders. Okay, yeah. So this is basically over. A&M has 1 more timeout, 50 seconds left. Barry Sanders is just too much to handle here. Yeah, they're going victory formation. Florida is going to win it. Knock off undefeated #1 team in the country, Texas A&M, trying to win their first national championship. What just happened? They just went victory formation. There was 50 seconds left. 0 timeouts. And somehow they just won. I super sim because what just happened? Somehow Texas A&M just won that. Somehow they got the ball back, and just with 22 seconds left, threw a 70-yard touchdown pass. I don't even get how they got the ball back. Oh my goodness. So I'm sorry. They took knees. Somehow Texas A&M just won that. So I don't even understand. Texas A&M wins, I guess. A 70-yard touchdown pass with 20 seconds left. Not even sure how they got the ball back, honestly. There was 50 seconds left. They had no timeouts. Barry Sanders had an unbelievable day. 162 yards on the ground. One catch as well. If we look at A&M, Marcus Allen had 45 yards receiving. Okay, so Ricky must have been hurt. So Marcus Allen was getting all the run. Not great on the ground. Their QB, 5 touchdown passes for Connor Weigman. Okay, sorry guys, I don't know how that happened, but A&M is going to the national final undefeated. Somehow insane ending knocks off Florida. Wow, absolutely insane. So we're just gonna sim to bowl season here. We're gonna see who A&M is playing in the national final. Hopefully it's another one of our teams, and then we can hop in. So here is the Heisman, and Weigman, the quarterback from A&M, actually won it. None of our running backs were in the Heisman watch this year. We did have 2 guys win it. I believe Barkley won one, and Derrick Henry won one for Georgia. So we did get to see that. Okay, so it's going to be Penn State. Kind of got it ruined there. It's Penn State A&M in the national final, but we'll go through this quick. See maybe if we have any other matchups. USC, definitely a down year for them. 8 wins. Texas, down year with just an absolute loaded roster. Georgia, really down year with 6 losses. Army, led by Zeke, great year, 9 wins. Bama, kind of a disappointing year. Still going to play in the Orange Bowl, but 3 losses with that stacked of a roster. Definitely should have been better. Florida lost a heartbreaker. Probably would have been in the national final. I'm guessing they're going to play Ohio State. Oregon, really good. Just missed out on the Natty. 2 losses. Just missed out on the Natty back-to-back years. Clemson, 2 losses, but they were ranked 9. And then we have Penn State A&M. And it is not 2 of our teams, but honestly, we might as well just throw it on. And we'll see if Texas A&M is able to finish off this undefeated season, win the Natty in our final year. This is the 4th year. This is going to be it. So this would be big for A&M, big for Ricky and Marcus Allen to wrap this up. Here's where their stats sit. All very, similar looking stats for both teams. So should be a good back and forth game. Definitely would have liked if it was two of our teams. It would have been cool if it was Oregon was able to get in, but that is all right. Once again, we're going to sim to late in the 4th quarter. We will see. All right, so at halftime, A&M has a commanding 17-0 lead. So we're going to sim to the 3rd. We'll see where we sit. Yeah, so this one looks over. It's 24-6 A&M. We're just going to sim to the end of the game here. Yeah, 31-6. A&M is going to cap off their season as undefeated national champions. Somehow beat Florida in that absolute miracle of a game. They did have the Heisman Trophy winner at A&M with their QB in Weigman. Decent day for him, not too crazy. Marcus Allen had a great day, so Ricky must be out for the year. 150 yards, 3 touchdowns, really good day there, and had 2 receptions. So there we go. That is it. A&M wraps up year 4 as the undefeated national champion. Okay, we are going to sim through the rest of the bowl games. Then we are going to look at the final stats for each of the players. Then we're going to look at the final career stats for each of the players as well. Then we're going to look at where each one of these guys ends up getting drafted. So that'll be really interesting to see once again. All right, so let's take a look at these final stats for year 4 for these runners. So Bo just really split time with Richardson. Good year, 7 touchdowns. I think he should finish with a ton of receiving yards, almost like 628 receiving yards. So he ended up having a really good year. Didn't get the carries, but still 1,500 yards, like 15 touchdowns. So good year for him. We'll look at Army. Zeke never really got much, but should have a ton on the ground. So he did get hurt. So yeah, out touched a ton by Barnes here, but when he played, he was an absolute freak. I still think he's going to finish with the most rushing yards between all our running backs through 4 years. Reggie splitting time almost right down the middle with this man, but he's averaging 7.6 yards per carry. Give Reggie the ball more. Another 473 through the air. So around 1,800 yards for Reggie right there. Really good year. Go down to Florida. Barry Sanders, 1,700 yards on the ground, 7.2 yards per carry, this close to making the national final. Then, Gurley as a backup adds another almost 1,200 yards. Look at their yards per game, 123 and 80. So between the two of them, they're averaging over 200 yards a game. If we look at receiving, Barry adds another 315 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. So that puts him at about 2,000 yards on the season. Very good. Henry, not as much as I would have expected for his senior season. Just like a lot of these guys got in these backfields where they're giving everyone else a ton of carries. Like this Thomas guy's getting a ton of work, but overall good season for Henry. 257 on the through the air. It's not a ton there, but a good 1,500 yards for him this year. We go down to LSU and our boy. Okay, so this is not amazing considering these two had. This LSU was just a pretty disappointing year all around. Like for having Herschel Walker and AP, just never really were able to put it together. If we look here, AP added another 270, through the air. Decent, but yeah, LSU was just never quite that team to really put it together with those two, which is kind of surprising. Going down to Oregon, and we have Saquon once again, just kind of into this timeshare. When he touched the ball, he was great, but I mean, their backup was really good too. So there, I don't really like, both averaging 7 yards per carry. We look here, Barkley added another 437 on the ground and 4 touchdowns. So overall, Barkley was really good, around 1,700 yards, but like we just never had those guys really getting, the lion's share, 80% of the touches where they could put up some really insane stats. Like look here, these two basically split it right down the middle. 8 carries difference between the two of them, 6.5 to 7 yards per carry. If we look at receiving, Fournette consistently was just a much better receiver than Earl Campbell, 450 yards to 50 with 5 touchdowns to 0. So overall, Leonard was definitely the better player at Texas for sure. Here we had had Ricky and Marcus Allen. Ricky did get hurt, but these guys did win the national title in their last year. 1,100 yards to 1,009 touchdowns, like very similar production there. We look at receiving. Ricky had 234. Oh, and Marcus had 251. So overall, those two were almost identical across the board. Did win the Natty. Then lastly, we have USC. And once again, basically split right down the board, almost identical production, 19 carries difference between them, about very similar yards per touch, very similar touchdowns. I'm sure if we look at receiving yards, they're going to be right there. Marshall had 385, so he had quite a bit more receiving actually production, but same receiving touchdowns. That 1-2 punch is pretty scary, but obviously didn't have as good of a year as, you know, they won back-to-back national championships early in their career. Okay. And we're going to look at career stats. And I think actually, can I go by, I think I can sort by all here. Yeah, by the whole NCAA. And we can actually look at just rushing yards. So this they're all played for 4 years. So yeah, this will be a good way to kind of look at them all. So Zeke, by far the most rushing yards. Ricky, in the ballpark, but you know, almost 1,000 left. Zeke was just in a totally unique situation at Army, triple option type offense, playing way worse competition. He's almost at his own category where just for straight rushers in kind of the big college football, big Power 5, Ricky, Henry, Marshall, all within, you know, 50 yards of each other. Fournette right there. Gurley, even though he wasn't even a starter his last year, Barry was the starter. That's all our guys right near the top. Saquon. If we look at yards per carry, this will be a little different because we'll have some of our guys mixed in, but Christian and Barry were the most yards per carry, 6.8 and 6.7 out of our guys. If we look at rushing touchdowns, obviously Zeke, then Gurley right behind him, Saquon, Fournette, Derrick Henry, Ricky Williams, Marshall Faulk. Longest run, this is not super important, but who had the longest? Zeke at 92. Yards per game, Zeke averaged 124. What about yards after contact? Ricky Williams was the best after contact. Who had the most? 20. Okay, so not a ton of big explosive runs. Who had the most broken tackles? Zeke and Marshall Faulk. Wow. Who had the most fumbles? Was it any of our guys? None of our guys. A lot of QBs. So that is all their stats for rushing. We can try to sort for receiving, but this is going to be tough because it's going to be a lot of receivers, obviously, and I can't sort it by running back, but I could try. I'll just go as far as they'll let me, and I'll see if I see any running backs up here. Okay, so there is our first running back. So Leonard Fournette had he always just did really well in the pass game. So most receiving yards, averaged another 17 through the air as well. We'll see if we have any more here. Okay, and then Marshall Faulk second. That makes sense, but Fournette had 17 receiving touchdowns. Marshall Faulk only had 7. Then we have Reggie Bush. Makes sense. All this makes sense except, you know, Leonard Fournette was not a great receiver. Bo Jackson, he really did his last year. He had about 16. So yeah, that is where we sit, guys. That is their career stats. Pretty interesting to look at for sure. Okay, so that is gonna wrap it up. Last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna sim to the off season, and I'm gonna look at their draft stock. So basically, it doesn't say if they get picked like first overall, anything like that, but it will tell you there are first round pick, second round pick, third round pick, things like that. So we will see where all these guys end up getting picked, and then that will be it. Okay, so let's see here. Only 3 are going first round. Saquon, Ricky, and Marcus Allen, the 2 A&M guys, and Saquon was a freak for sure. Then Gurley and Earl Campbell projected second round. Zeke in the third round. Reggie and Fournette. Derrick Henry in the fourth with McCaffrey, Falk, Herschel Walker in the fifth. These guys never, I mean, Barry Sanders projected to go undrafted. Is that all our guys? I think 1 or 2 of our guys might. I think Bo Jackson, I think he got redshirted, so technically he can come back for 1 more year. But there it is, guys. That is the pro projection. Obviously it's a little ridiculous. I think I don't think 99-year overall Barry Sanders would go undrafted. I have a good feeling that he wouldn't, but there it is, guys. I thought that turned out pretty cool. If you guys have any other positions or anything else you guys want to see similar to this, let me know. I have a cool idea. I think I might do like 10 of the best quarterbacks ever, 10 of the best wide receivers, and 10 of the best running backs ever, put them all into one recruiting class. Then hopefully quite a few of them all sign at the same school and you could get like Reggie Bush, Vince Young, and Julio Jones all go to Florida. And, you know, things like that. So I think that could turn out pretty cool. Let me know if you'd like to see something like that. So what did you think of that sim? What sim should we do next? And if you liked this, then you need to check out this video right here, where I go through the same process, but with the 13 best college football recruits of all time.